I'd like to call this meeting to order. Ms. Rouse, please call the roll.
Members Fioli.
Here.
Lisa.
Here.
Baba. Here. Grimm.
Here.
Kelly.
Here. We stand for pledge.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to public comments. We have anybody signed up? Thank you. Then we will let Alex do his thing.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's live broadcast of the Streetsboro Board of Education meeting. I'm Alex Antonsi. Tonight's meeting is being held in the cafeteria of the Deffer Intermediate School. Now here's School Board President Brian Violi.
Thank you, Alex. Approval of minutes is recommended. The Board of Education approve the minutes from November 9th, 2017 as submitted.
I'll move. Second.
First and second. Any comments? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Members Grimm.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Lisa.
Yes.
Baba.
Yes.
Fioli.
Yes, motion carried. Moving on to reports. Mr. Superintendent, you have an exciting one, I guess.
I do. I'm very pleased to introduce our promising practice tonight. I think you're going to be amazed when you hear these young ladies and gentlemen perform. So I'm going to hand this over to, Mrs. Hepburn or to
Miss Anchor first, and then.
So Lindsay Zanker, Assistant Principal, is going to introduce our act, and I think this is going to probably be the best part of tonight's board meeting.
Well, you can drop the problem.
Drop the mic after it.
I'm so excited. I love going into the music class with Miss Pepper and the kids because I get to see the kids learn and perform. And I've actually tweeted the ukuleles because it's one of my favorite things to go see because it's just such a neat thing. And Miss Hepburn brings such a wonderful program to our school. She is a co-author of books that are published right now that other schools are using. She goes around the world, teaches in China and all sorts of places, and she brings all of that talent in her home and her love to Streetsboro. We're so lucky to have her here. And what she brings, and the kids are going to show you what is actually being taught in schools. It's really cool. So Ms. Hepburn.
So we have a few things that make our program unique, I feel, at Streetsboro. And I have to say, it's not just me doing this. The music program here really does start in kindergarten, and foundations that Mark Iso started at. Music we all had when we were younger, where you sat and read from a book and read that. You learn that time, you turn the page, and the next music class, the excitement was the song on the next page. We're way more past that now, but we are learning songs, and it's a great way to bring the world into the classroom for the students to be introduced to other cultures. But I think what makes it exciting is they really learn by doing. It's a very pragmatic approach. And in music education, the thing that's important right now is active music learning. So it's the process they go to learn and manipulate the material so that they have new learnings occur for themselves. And the three main approaches we use here in our school district are orchestral work. That's not what's supposed to show me. Those are T fields of Malaysia. Not what I want you to see. It's here, but it's not showing.
Is it a presentation?
It is, but it's not. Is it on your?
Yes, next time.
How about I keep talking and they can make that happen?
I'll try.
I know what it says. All right, so one of the main approaches we use is orchestral work, and the exciting part about orchestral work is it's really all about the students being their own creators and their own musicians. And so it fosters a sense of ensemble, problem solving. Students do a lot of the higher end of the Bloom's taxonomy so that they're improvising and they're creating a music class and definitely applying things that they're learning. And the other piece of the pie is the Kodai approach, which is our literacy-based system that we use here. And this does start in kindergarten for us, which is great because Mr. Izo whole basis of both approaches is that it's active and it's learned through music making, which is great. And then eurythmics we use when we get the students up and moving, so they respond to music. We don't sit a lot in the music room. People often wonder why I don't have assigned seats, but often in one music class they'll be at the instruments and then in chairs and then up moving around and then over at the choral runners for a while. So we don't really stay stationary, and a lot of group learning happens together, which is, I think, what makes it more exciting for the students at our school because they learn to manipulate the music together. And there's a lot of cooperation that happens. There's a lot of give and take. There's a lot of leadership, but a lot of learning happens, a lot of peer teaching when they work through things together. This is a group working on a rhythm composition that they did this year. And I fully believe that our kids own their music room and that they make music theirs because they create a lot of their own music together. So this is a group that was doing little manipulative cards together, but I'm going to show you. This is kind of what it sounds like in a regular class. That's noisy. I love it. So they, it's very active and there's a lot of noise that happens because they're doing so much problem solving together in groups, but they'll experiment with things, they'll write rhythms, and if they don't like it, they'll try a new instrument, or they'll try a new arrangement of things, which is great. We integrate a lot of technology, and so the smartboard files, it's nice because it's a nice way to support our visual learners, but also works on music literacy skills, and then we can throw in a few other things at the same time. So we utilize from the Kodai approach the use of solfege, which is great because then later when they end up, especially if they're a brass player, it helps with intonation if they solfa their parts, but also for choir, for singing, for part work and intonation and development that way. And then there's lyrics that go with things. But this is an example of one of the screens, like when they're working in the music room, they can go up and they will send kids to the board and they manipulate and try things. And we do a class example before they do things together. So it's a nice way that we also use technology in the classroom. But I think the part that's most exciting is that they get excited to share, like the kids that are here tonight. And Monday is our choir concert, and tonight's the band concert. So when you're done here, you can run over there. But we do a lot of hands-on learning, and it's been a good opportunity for them to share it with others. I have a little clip in here, but I'm going to skip it to save time, of us over at campus last year, which is now SES. And this is I think the part that for most of us that we would remember as children when we went through music. A lot of what we did stayed down here. And if you look at Bloom's taxonomy and learning and how students approach their understanding of constructs, the remembering and understanding is pretty basic. I mean, literally Shazam can tell you what a song is now. But the part where it becomes human and it matters to me as a teacher, is when we're up higher, because that's when it starts to touch their heart as a person, because they're making music together, they feel different, and we're going to have a few kids talk about that tonight. So would you like to go first, Annie? Sure. This is Annie Halleck. She's one of our choir members, and as you know, one of our new programs we just started last year, we started the beginning choir. And Annie was one of the members last year, and this year we doubled in size. There were 120 children in the choir now at Duffer, and Annie's going to talk a little bit about choir, followed by Ella Hodge. So if you want to come up with her, they're going to speak about choir.
Hi, my name is Annie Halleck, and I am a 6th grade student at Henry Duffer Intermediate. I love choir because we get to perform for people. Miss Hepburn is such a great music teacher. She really helps us get the songs we're working on just right. Most of our songs are upbeat. I really like that about choir. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Ella Hodge, and I would like to start off by thanking my amazing choir teacher, Miss Hepburn, for all she has done for me in the school. Choir class is a time to have fun and let everything else go. We sing a huge variety of songs, from soft and peaceful to fun and upbeat. My favorite part about choir is that we don't just stand there and sing. It's also about having fun and putting little dances and body percussion along with it too. In choir, we learn about diction and making our words more clear. We also learn about proper singing posture, like having your feet on the floor and your back straight. Last year, Ms. Hepburn had the kids set goals, and she is helping them pursue their goals. She can help them by letting them come in for recess or work very hard in class. Ms. Hepburn has a bright soul and is someone who wants to be around. Choir has been a great experience for me and is for all the other students too. Thank you and have a happy holidays.
Ellison, I don't want you to hear it till we're there, and now I know why. You are going to make me cry. I told you you were going to make me cry. Which gets to my next part. Just a few weeks ago, I had done a teacher in service, and I got a letter back from one of the teachers that was there that was really stressed out about their schedule, not being able to get it all done, and I can't get through all this curriculum and what's most important. And this is what I cut and pasted out of the email that I wrote the teacher, and I really do think it's important that yeah, they can tell you what whole note is, but and if they end up on Jeopardy, great, good for you. You can tell Alex 4 beats, but it doesn't really matter, because what to me matters the most is that they learn to love music and making, which your comments say. And as a teacher, that's what I want for them, and I want them to be able to sing to their baby and dance on the beat at their wedding. So this was the comment I wrote back. I said, when my students become adults, I don't care if they remember whole notes, have 4 beats. Although on Jeopardy that will come in handy. It matters to me that they know I cared as an adult, and that I care they can sing to their baby. I care they will dance on the beat at their wedding, and I care they will continue to enjoy music in their daily life. So that was, I really feel that's my personal philosophy, and I think it kind of shows in the classroom, because we do have a good time in there, but they are learning. We are learning. You just don't know it. So I'm going to unplug this. And 6th grade, one of the things that's different about 6th grade curriculum is we're learning all about chord progressions and harmony. So 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5. I'm supposed to be but their first instrument they're learning this year, because 6th grade's a little different, it's a little more exploratory. We're learning folk instruments, and the first one we're starting with is ukulele. And then we're going to learn the Appalachian dulcimer and guitar this year. So they're a little nervous but excited. So we're going to start with a traditional Hawaiian song that all the kids in Hawaii learn called Eamaka. And aloha, everyone. Guys ready? So. Function in our pop music and American music. So we've learned a lot of variety of songs, but one of the ones that's been a fun hit for us has been The Lion Sleeps Tonight. So if you know the Weem Away part, you can sing along, feel free. But do you want one of the booklets? And that Court, you're playing drums, right? Sorry. All right, so Billy, what we've learned about is that there's essentially 3 notes that make up a chord. So Billy is going to demonstrate how bass players across the world are making millions just playing 1 note. Their job is to play the root of the chord, and then Cadence is taking the other notes of the chord and she made her own improvised line. And we'll see what she comes up with tonight, because she makes it different every time she does it. But it's nice because they're playing the chord along with us. So they're starting to see how music functions as a whole unit, which is exciting. And then Courtney here's going to play the drums. Brandon, are you the new shakery player, since our shakery players still have this note? Or do you want me to do it? Cool. I can handle this job. Okay, all right, ready? Billy, you want to set it down? All right, one cycle through from Billy, and then we're in. How's it sound? The jungle, the mighty jungle, a lion sleeps tonight. The jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps I think we do have, do you guys want to do the show because that's your favorite one? Okay, but on one condition. I feel like a soloist, you have to actually sing. Sing. You're nervous, you look so nervous. It's me, go. Okay. You want to do the show though? They love this one. James loves the Somewhere Over the Rainbow. We learned that one too. Is there one more? You want to stand behind these? Let's do that. No. Yes. No, okay. Here. All right, we picked this one because this is a fun one for kids. Sixth graders are kind of in the middle and a little bit lost with not quite a little kid, not quite a teenager yet. So they all really took to the words on this one. It's called The Show by Lenka. Remember, it's regular C, not C. You gotta practice. Here we go. I'm just a little bit caught in the middle. Life is a maze, and love is a riddle. I don't know where to go. Can't do it alone. I've tried, and I don't know why. Slow it down, make it stop, or else my heart is going to pop. 'Cause it's too much, yeah, it's a lie to be something I'm not. I'm a fool out of love, and I just can't get enough. I'm just a little bit caught in the middle. Life is a maze, and love is a riddle. I don't know where to go, can't do it alone. I've tried, and I don't know why. I'm just a little girl lost in the moment. I'm so scared, but I don't show it. I can't figure it out. It's bringing me down. I know I've got to let it go and just enjoy the show. The sun is hot in the sky, just like a giant spotlight. The people fall aside and synchronized in time. It's a joke, nobody knows. They got a ticket to that show. I'm just a little bit caught in the middle. Life is a maze and love is a riddle. I don't know where to go, can't do it alone. I've tried and I don't know why. I'm just a little girl lost in the moment. I'm so scared, but I don't show it. I can't figure it out. It's bringing me down. I know I've got to let it go and just enjoy the show. Dum-dee-dum, da-dum-dee-dum. Just enjoy the show. Dum-dee-dum, da-dum-dee-dum. Just enjoy the show. I want my money back. I want my money back. I want my money back. Just enjoy the show. I want my money back. I want my money back. I want my money back. Just enjoy the show. It's exciting for them because they enjoy making music together, but to be able to give it to other people makes a big difference. And we really enjoyed going to the senior center this year. We went up there, and it was nice because we were able to give the seniors a lay, and they all shook along with us and sang. And then we had one round or two of bingo, which was good. And then they decided we should come for every bingo because it was way more exciting than normal. And we're going back again on Monday with the choir for the mayor's luncheon with the senior citizens, so that'll be a lot of fun and another way to get our students out into the community, which is super. And we appreciate being here. So, a group of us.
Great job, kids.
Thank you, Mrs. Hepburn. I wish I had a music teacher like you when I was in elementary school. We did a lot of memorizing and singing the same stuff.
Yeah.
I know my kids still remember you and talk about you, and I know you just talked to my son, and it's kind of funny that the music was from Hawaii. That's what it's gonna be. Yeah.
It's great.
Music from Hawaii was very perfect for today to offset.
Correct. To offset the snow, we're transporting you a little bit, which is good. Thank you so much for having us. I think we're doing good.
Thank you.
You guys hear me say this all the time, we have great kids, don't we?
Think for all the kids. Thank you.
Good job. So while they're packing up, I do want to say that, I don't know if members of the audience know, and the Board of Education knows, but Mrs. Hepburn actually is a world-renowned writer. She writes music curriculum. Her curriculum is in many schools across the United States. She also presents all over the world. I believe I heard her saying that she's going to be presenting at a university in Hawaii in June. She's been all over the world, many countries. She's sought after. So she's a class act, and we are very fortunate to have Mrs. Hepburn here in Streetsboro. I wish I had had you.
I think I read to tell you that we're presenting at our State Music Educators Conference. We're taking a group of kids down to Columbus for a demonstration session on how to scaffold your learning in the music classroom. So this is Curtis as part of that presentation. Also, we're talking about curriculum in action. So
Yeah,
Keep up the great work.
Thanks. Thank you.
I'll give the audience a little hint. This is your time if you want to sneak out. It's okay. And we'll go ahead and move on.
Let's turn off the projector with the.
That's pretty high tech.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
It's what we call a universal remote. Works every time.
Okay, so while they're filing out, the next item in my report is not nearly as exciting, but it is an important discussion I wanted to have with the board. I'm proposing tonight that we pass a policy on the procurement and administration of Narcan. That's a controversial topic, but as you know, that Ohio and Northern Ohio is actually leading the way in opioid overdoses, unfortunately. And I was actually shocked at the number of overdoses that actually occur even here in Streetsboro. You don't hear a lot about it because Streetsboro is known as a town, not a lot of crime. It's a nice bedroom community, but we are not immune to overdoses. So what I'm proposing is this, that we pass a policy, and it's attached to this, on the administration, procurement, and administration of Narcan. And along with that is a doctor's standing order from Akron Children's Hospital, who we partner with for all of our clinics. And what I'm proposing is that we will have 2 doses of Narcan at the high school and at the middle school locked in the clinic. And then our Akron Children's Hospital nurses will be trained in the administration of that, along with our building principals. Right now, currently, the Streetsboro Police Department carries Narcan in their cruisers. Of course, Mr. Fogelman has one in his cruiser. I believe all the squads have Narcan. But again, when life can mean seconds, and overdose can mean seconds, I've kind of had a change of heart, so that's why I want to hear your opinion on this. I think that as long as we properly train people and we have it in our clinics locked up, I think it would serve, if a tragedy like that happened in our high school and overdose, like you said, minutes can mean life, and we could administer that before our squad can even arrive. So I'd welcome some input from the board on this.
Mike, if I may, Brian, Narcan is a drug that is very rare that somebody would have an allergic reaction to it. And I think only having this drug would only serve good for our school district. Yes, Streetsboro does have overdoses. I can't say we've got a lot of them. We're not some big cities that have them every single day. But there's been times when we've had two or three a day. It just comes in waves, it seems. And at first I think you and I were under the same impression that the schools are already doing so much. Why would we do something else? But then you look at it and say, we're here to protect our kids, and this is one thing. Even if somebody finds something on the ground and they pick it up to take it to the office, they could, if it's something that can be absorbed into the body, they can have a reaction, and the Narcan could actually save their life before the squad gets there. And as busy as we've been lately, you may see an ambulance come from Aurora or Ravenna because we're so busy. So having this, I think, is only going to be beneficial for our students.
And the day that Mr. Grimm and I talked, she shared that the day before, and I don't remember the exact number, but there was more than 2 overdoses just that day before. And I was like, really? In Streetsboro? And then he shared what he shared with you.
It's a sorry subject to talk about, but I know that it hits everybody in some way. Everybody knows somebody that has had a tragedy with this drug, and it's an epidemic right now. And I just hope that this is our way of doing something that's right. But those kids that would experience something like that definitely need to get help. Just saving life that minute. It's a long road after that. So, I mean, I'm all for it, but it's just sad that we have to talk about it.
I've already shared my thoughts with you.
Okay, so this is included under a board president's recommendation because it is a new policy, and along with that policy, there is the doctor's order from Akron Children's Hospital. And if you read that, it shows how to identify an overdose and the procedures for doing that. And we will actually have our Akron Children's Hospital nurses train our high school principal, assistant principal, and our middle school principal and soon to be assistant principal. Also, one other quick note, and this actually just blew my mind. The reason this was brought to me by Akron Children's Hospital, Joe called a meeting and we all sat around and we had a meeting, is that our nurses from Akron Children's Hospital, if we don't have at least a policy, not procurement, but at least a policy for the administration of it, and we have a child or an adult or a visitor OD on our grounds or in a building, and I'm just playing a scenario, and Mr. Fogelman, Officer Fogelman says, here nurse, administer this, I'm dealing with this other issue. They can't administer it unless we have a policy in place because it can actually put their nursing license in jeopardy. And I would have thought the opposite, but they were very clear with us, the director of nursing at Akron Children's Hospital, that at least put a administration policy in place so that it would protect their nurses. So what I'm proposing tonight is both the procurement and the administration. And to give you an idea of the cost, the first year will be free. Those vials, like whatever you want to call it, last for a year, and then it's $75 for 2 doses a year. So we'd be $150 a year after this first year when that bot expires. So really, it's a minimal cost for a possible lifesaver.
Let's just hope we never have to use it.
Amen. Okay, that's all I have on that. And then my next item, I'm excited to announce, I don't know if you guys can see the press release, but we were just informed that the new Streetsboro High School achieved LEED Gold status. Only 16 school districts in the state of Ohio, one of 16 buildings in the state of Ohio that have achieved LEED Gold. If you remember when we built the high school and all of our buildings to the High School Facilities Commission, we had to at least achieve LEED Silver. And so it was quite an accomplishment for it to bump up to gold. And it's in the letter, it points out its categories for energy, atmosphere, indoor environment, air quality, water efficiency, the use of recycled materials, monitoring our incoming water and our output, all these different things, the windows, the size of the windows, natural light, the temperature control systems, the building envelope, those things all give us points toward the LEED. And so we were able to achieve LEED Gold status. So we do have a press release, and we're going to send this to the Record Courier soon. But I wanted you guys to hear it first before it hit the newspaper.
Great. Yeah, awesome news.
That's something that'll, benefit our students and the community for years to come. So.
And thank you, board, because you guys were the drivers behind this.
I know we talked about it a lot, the envelope and the systems and all that. So good to see it pay off.
I think a shout out should go to the folks that you referenced in with row 2, FMB and Hammond, they played a good role in that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big props to them. Okay.
All right, then my final item, which is not on the agenda because I wanted to make it a little bit of a surprise, but Mr. Lisak, could you come up front for a minute, please?
No.
So I'm going to go off mic while Andy walks up front. Andy, this is his last meeting. Andy has decided to enjoy life outside of the school board. And Andy's been on the school board for 10 years. He was appointed in 2007, and now it's 2017. And I asked him earlier, did you know what you're getting yourself into? And he said he had no idea. He should have called his dad because his dad was a longtime school board member. And his sister, I think, said to him, "Are you crazy?" But Andy's goal when he got on.
My dad was worse. My dad was a superintendent.
Oh, that's right.
So he used to get calls from those annoying board members at home.
That never happens. So Andy's sister actually told him he was crazy. You remember all those times Dad was away, you can't use the phone.
Can't use the phone.
Waiting on the board president and the call. He only had one line, so they couldn't use the phone. So anyway, Andy, in honor of your service on the board, we would like to present you with a little token of our appreciation for 10 years on the board, to your dedication to the students and the community of Streetsboro. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Very deserving. I did have a speech. I thought of it briefly, but I wrote it down. But I would like to say, I didn't have any idea what I was getting into, but I'm glad I did, and mostly for the students, and was a former board member who beat into my head that that's the most important person people that we're serving when we're on the board are the students. And just seeing that performance right there is what makes, being part of the board and serving the community so enjoyable. And yes, it has its challenges, but there's a lot more pluses than minuses. And I would like to personally thank Mike and Kathy for providing some stability, to our administration. We have some challenges with over the years, and I can't be prouder than the district for what we've achieved and the buildings and everything. It's just it's hard to think and go back to what it was to where we are today. It's phenomenal. It's just great. And my board members too, who have taught me many, many things over the years. Thank you.
So while Kathy's making her way up, she and I were actually hired into the district at the same time. I was a principal and Kathy was the new CFO. That was back in 2010. And Kathy really walked into what I will label a mess. And we had cut all of our extracurricular activities. We had cut busing for the high school. We had cut busing for any elementary student that lived less than 2 miles from the buildings. And there had been a string of treasurers in before Kathy. So when Andy says Kathy represented stability, she really did. And Kathy went on to win this district and her staff 5 Auditor of the State of Ohio Awards with distinction. Most districts don't get one of those. We received 5. That was under Kathy's guidance. So Kathy?
5 consecutive.
5 consecutive. So Kathy, for your 7 years
Thank you very much. I don't know.
I did, but I wrote it down, but
I do want to say that I am very honored to have served in the school district in this community. It's been a pleasure. It has afforded me many opportunities that I wouldn't have had anywhere else. And you're right, Andy. It is all about those kids. I enjoyed that performance tremendously. And that is one thing I think that this board and administration all work purposefully on and agree on. It is all about the kids. And I'm very proud to have been a part of that.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Kathy. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bellhall. Moving on to Treasury report.
I'd like to let you know that the district recently went through a pension audit by the state auditor's office. I had never heard of a pension audit, and a gentleman called us on the phone on a Monday, November 27th, and said they wanted to come to the district no later than the end of the week, that we had been picked randomly. That's how they do the pension audits. And that we had been picked randomly, and they were coming out to review a number of employee records for both SCRS and STRS. They reviewed, when they came out, they reviewed a number of documents, enrollment forms, whether or not employees were enrolled in the correct pension system. They made sure that wages and contributions agreed with our payroll records. They were in the district for about a half a day and determined that there were no issues, so that we got a really good report on our pension audit.
I saw the report. I was happy to read that
got
as
the
well.
emails about them, yeah. And I'm like, what's this? I'm like,
Well,
well, it's good news. So
That's what I
all
said when I got the call. I said, huh?
Yeah, what?
Mike, I received a letter that they were coming the day after they left.
Surprise. Like I said, they called on a Monday and said they were coming out that week. They came out on Friday and we gathered the documentation and showed them what they wanted to see. And so we were in compliance and got a good report.
Good. Good to hear.
That's all I had.
Thank you, and thank you for taking care of the Streetsboro community's funds for the schools as well. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Moving on to board reports, Ms. Babb.
I just wanted to mention a couple of things. First of all, the Streetsboro PTA held their holiday, Streetsboro Holiday Connection at the middle school from 11 to 3 earlier this month. It was very successful. And also that actually today they held their after prom pie pickup at the high school. With regard to legislation, just keep an eye on House Bill 312. The House approved by a vote of 90-0 recently, and it's legislation that deals with credit cards and debit cards by political subdivision, so it would affect our school district, and it kind of puts another layer of potential bureaucracy Some would point out that 90% of boards already have policies dealing with credit cards and how they're used, and that these policies already are effective. And there's a concern that 312, like I said, would just add another layer. Some feel that it doesn't need to be codified in the revised code, that the existing policies are strong enough. So, like I said, just keep aware of that as it now, I would guess, moves to the Senate for consideration. That's it. Merry Christmas, happy holidays.
Thank you, Ms. Mr. Kelly.
Yes, so the wrestling team had a really nice weekend this past weekend. They finished second place at the Pier 4 Invitational. Don Crone, Chris Anderson, and Hank Perry were all champs. Kerry was named the most outstanding wrestler, so good weekend for the wrestling team. Boys basketball team is currently 1-3, and the girls team is currently 2-3. So quick comments about athletics. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Mr. Leasak.
I know I have.
Mr. Grimm.
No report except to say, wow, Thrive did it again with their performance over the weekend or so ago. With this Trial of Santa Claus, it was really cool. So if you didn't miss it, or if you missed it, too bad. Catch the next performance. They were awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Grimm. And I do not have a report, so we'll move on to consent agenda. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the consent agenda items B through O.
Second.
First and second, any comments?
I just want to make a quick shout out to our letter K, our retirements. We have 4 employees that are retiring, some effective soon, and other 2 at the end of the year. That have been with the district for many, many years. Deb Reed, 6th grade teacher here at Depper, is retiring May 31st. Rita Truzano, 1st grade over at SES, is retiring effective May 31st. Then a little bit of a surprise, Diane Lee, a middle school secretary, she's announced that she's going to retire December 31st. And another surprise just this week, Mrs. Kinder announced her retirement as transportation supervisor effective February 1st. So these 4 ladies have been with us a long time. They've served us well. They're great people. They've given a lot to us, and I just wanted to point out and congratulate them.
Just want to say thank you to all the donations that are made. It's nice to see that list. Game ballpark or grow. A lot of places don't see donations coming in like that, so just want to mention that as well.
Did you see the last donation in there? That's a pretty good donation.
Please call the roll.
Members Kelly.
Here.
Grimm.
Yes.
Lisa.
Yes.
Bella.
I'm going to abstain.
Violi.
Yes, motion carried. Moving.
Here.
John would like to revote.
John said yes.
Yeah. Sure.
Superintendent's recommendations.
I just have one. It is recommended the Board of Education hire Lindsay Zanker as full-time assistant principal at Depper Intermediate School and Streetsboro Middle School, 204 days at the salary of $70,000 prorated from January 1, 2018, plus other administrative benefits effective January 1, 2018 through July 31st, 2018.
I'll move.
Second.
First and second, any comments?
Just, we've talked about this before. We're transitioning from 3 grades at Depper to 3 grades at a middle school. There's a lot of work between now and then that needs to happen. And Lindsay and Vince have already been working together a lot. And I'm excited to bring her to full-time. I think she has a lot to offer for us.
Please call the roll.
Members Bella.
Yes.
Grimm.
Yes.
Kelly.
Yes.
Lisa.
Yes.
Violi.
Yes, motion carried.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, we're moving on to treasurer's recommendations.
Thank you. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the amended appropriations for fiscal year 18 as attached.
I'll move.
I'll second.
The first and second, any comments?
Yes, we are just increasing student activities in our federal funds as they were adjusted. The overall increase is about $6,500.
Please call the roll.
Burns, Lisa,
Yes.
Evan,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Yoli.
Yes, motion carried.
That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Rouse. Moving on, any new business? Any old business?
I just wanted to say just a couple things about Andy and Kathy, and we've already talked about that, but
We're going to do that under old business.
yeah, it's whole business, right?
I'm old business already.
Yeah, Andy has just been a nice person to look up to when I first was on the school board. He really helped me, just kind of guide me in the right direction, and anytime I had a question or something that I didn't understand, he was always there to help me out. And he's a very intelligent person, especially when it comes to numbers and accounting and money, and he's always questioning that, which is good for a public school system. So he will be missed, that's for sure. He will be missed, and I wish him all the best. So he's not only a good school board member, he's a really good guy. And then Kathy, of course, has done a great job. So I don't want to go on and on, but they both will be missed, that's for sure. Thank you both.
I hope we can still call you.
Absolutely.
What should we call
But you can call it without. The number's the same. Had the same number, I think, cell number, yeah, that's all.
Can they
Yeah,
transfer
it is
that
a
number
plan.
from a flip phone to a regular?
Now this one, my work one, no.
Thank you. Moving on to board president's recommendations, item A. Please recommend the Board of Education approve the revised policies listed below.
I'll move.
First and second, any comments? And then call the roll, please.
Members Baba,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Yoli.
Yes, motion carried. Item B, approval. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the new policy 6.52 as shown in the attachment.
I'll move.
I'll second.
First and second, comments. This is what we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Please call the roll.
Members Graham,
Yes.
Baba,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Yoli.
Yes, motion carried. Item C is recommended that 2018 organizational meeting be scheduled for January 10th, 2018 at 6 p.m. at Henry Duffer Intermediate with the board's regular monthly meeting to follow. That will be on Wednesday, by the way.
I'll move.
I'll second.
We have a first and second. Please call the roll.
Members Baba,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Yoli.
Yes, motion carried. Item D, it is recommended that 2017 Board President Brian Violi serve as President Pro Tem at the organizational meeting January 10th, 2018 until the board appoints the successor.
I'll move.
Second.
First and second, any comments? Please call the roll.
Members Baba,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Yoli.
Yes, motion carried. And item E, to recommend the Board of Education to enter into executive session to consider the employment and discipline of a public employee or official, as well as conference with attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are subject of pending or imminent court action with possible action to follow.
I'll move.
I'll second.
First and second, please call the roll.
Members Kelly,
Yes.
Baba,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Yoli.
Yes, motion carried. We're in executive session at 7:33.